Hi there, welcome to Moms with a Mic. We're talking all things back to school, and today we have joining us Jenni Roig from the Roig Academy, where she is head of school there. So thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we know it's just a matter of days whether you're in Miami-Dade or Broward County that school starts, and it always seems to kind of come up out of nowhere. You know, you celebrate a few holidays, it's July 4th, and then all of a sudden it's August, tax-free holiday. We talked a lot about that this past several days, and now it's kind of, you're in it to win it, right? You really have to start thinking about school and how you're going to get your kids back in the routine.
I know, right? Because we've been on these summer, schedules. I mean, all of us, whatever age your kids may be, right? And so I know for us, it's kind of, the wake up times are all over the map. How's it at your house? Because you run the gamut. So tell us about your house.
So it's a little different. I have one that'll sleep in, one that'll get up early. She's a tennis player, so she's out on the court quite early. My other one's working, so he's out early too. And it's kind of, we're prepping little by little. I've really focused myself this week in really trying to get back into the swing of things, trying to get to bed a little earlier. The routine, right? Having your stuff a little done. We all have our supplies, our book bags, our shoes. So they're all ready. My daughter's going off to college, so she's got most of her gear ready.
And whatever your age, I mean, for little kids, which, by the way, these happen to be Jenni's nephews here. Right, so Liam and Ryan and her sister, their mom, getting things ready. So let's talk about some of the key things here for back to school routines, right? Start early. You've still got time right now.
Definitely.
To start changing that schedule kind of little by little. What would you recommend?
So I always say inch by inch is a cinch, right? So a little bit at a time. I wouldn't just dive into it Sunday night because you're dealing with a lot of emotions. You're dealing with, even just maybe a little bit of jet lag, right? Because they're different routines. So inch by inch is always a cinch. Be consistent. Whatever whatever goal you have in mind, if it's to have them in bed by 8 or have them in bed by 9, start inching your way into that time frame. And definitely prepare ahead. Lay out, your uniform or your whatever you're going to have for the next day, and your routine, and be prepared and have all of that consistently ready. I would say within at least a week in advance.
And part of that being prepared, right, that we were just discussing off camera is getting the kids accustomed to the school, especially if it's a new school, right? Take that time to bring them to campus and show them around.
Yes, so many schools will have meet and greets. Like at our school, we have a meet and greet, so the little ones will stop by, meet their teacher just for an hour, come and see the classroom, find out where the bathroom is, find your table. So that'll help them visualize and have a really good idea of what to expect and where it's not all new the very first day. And we do that with college kids too, right? We go on campus tours. So it's really the same thing. You can look at a school online. You can drive by on the weekend, even if they're closed. Look at find the playground. Things that will bring comfort to them and provide them with some safeties.
Yeah.
And if kids are going back to a school they're familiar with, is it best to just kind of talk about that sort of thing? Remember,
definitely.
Where's the bathroom? Where's the library?
And they might have a new classroom. They might move from maybe like the lower school into middle school, now have a locker. They might have a new teacher. Right,
of course.
So that's important too. You were in the East building, now you're going to be in the West building, and what does that look like, and what changes does that possibly come with?
Because you would know firsthand that it makes a big difference for these kids getting back into the transition, being obviously an administrator. And
and that's what we do. Is that's why we have the meet and greet, particularly for our little ones. 2-year, we start at age 2, so they're coming in for the first time.
Wow.
Right.
And you've got how many kids at the Roig Academy?
So we have close to 100.
Okay.
Between pre-K 2 through 8th grade.
Okay, so that's a pretty wide gamut for that. And let's talk about meals too, right? Because we know going to school on a full stomach makes a big difference. So one thing, don't skip breakfast, right?
Definitely. It's your power meal.
Your power meal. And then, when it comes to those first day jitters, that kind of thing, modeling behavior, right?
Definitely.
And how important is that for parents?
So this is what I tell parents. When they're dropping off, you are reassuring them that they are in a safe place. This is the school you've chosen. This is the school you have enrolled your child in. Therefore, they're going to perceive what you're feeling. They're very intuitive. So if you emit confidence and security and safety, and you're going to be okay, and I'm going to be here pick up, they're going to pick up on that and they're going to be okay with that.
And then I thought this was key too. Don't make promises you can't keep. It's all about managing expectations. Talk about that.
Absolutely. So some schools have maybe a walk-in policy where parents are welcome to stay. Some have closed-door policies. At our school, we want the children to get settled as soon as possible. And I always think of the working mom, right? And some don't work and some work. The one that doesn't work could probably stay a little longer. And who doesn't want their mommy at school?
I know.
Right? So why can you have your mommy and I can't? So at our school, we want it to be a little bit quicker, drop off, let us take over. We've got this all together though. And it is a partnership, and it's understanding what to expect from the school which you've chosen and what the rules are, and if you're okay with that as a parent.
Now, I wanted to just share, we have a couple of comments that are starting to come in, and please feel free to comment anytime. We'd love to hear from you as well, and if you have a question, we will certainly pose it here to Jenni and get an answer for you.
Sure.
But first, Karen Michaels, an old dear family friend of ours, saying consistency is key, but it is so hard.
It is hard.
Obviously, when you're a mom, you know that's the case. My daughter is still very young. She just turned 21 months, and just trying to get her to bed at the same time can be difficult. So you start at a certain time and end up 45 minutes later, like, where did the time go? Right. So we all know consistency is hard, but I think the point of it is just to try to keep it.
And give yourself some wiggle room, right? Plus or minus 30 minutes. It's you're not punching a clock to go to work. So, but I think giving yourself some wiggle room and some flexibility is way better than, okay, today we're an hour off or 2 hours off. I think that's a bigger difference, particularly for a 15-month-old.
Right, for sure.
And you know what? What's interesting too, the pediatric psychologist we talked to for our story, who pointed out the consistency part, she said when you're trying to change that bedtime and stick to a newer bedtime, she said, even stick to it on the weekends.
Yep. I found that was interesting when she said that, because that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because we tend to not have such a rigid schedule on the weekends, right?
Well, and the kids know it's the weekend, right? And they want to play a little bit, so you kind of have to, you have to bend some for that, but also try to, the consistency, obviously, it's always going to be a challenge. But then there again is that start early, right? We just had that full screen up again.
Yes.
Start sooner than you think that you would have to start.
Yep.
Yeah, because now is a good time, right? Because we're a week out for Broward schools, a little bit more for Miami-Dade, and so you can sort of start making that gradual move, and you have a better shot at being consistent.
Right. Right.
So what other tips do you have? I know you were kind of sharing with us a list of things that we wouldn't think of as moms.
So you want your first day to be as smooth as possible, right? So as a parent, what is the school expecting you to have? So at our school, we need to have, if you're, your immunization forms, any health allergies. You don't want to be a participant in the fact that your child might not be able to show up the first day of school. You don't want to ruin that for them. That would be devastating, right? So at our school, we'll give you a checklist of exactly what it is that you need to have. Make sure you have it, prior to enrolling, and your child is ready to rock and roll from day one. One thing we do with our toddlers is we do help them with their lunch, opening up, but it's a great exercise, fine motor skills, help them a Ziploc, a little baggie sometimes are a little hard, but a straw, a little juice pocket, if help them puncture that little straw. Those are good things to maybe start practicing.
And they love to be independent.
They
too.
love to be independent, and we really stimulate that. We promote that. We want them to be autonomous. That's why you put them in school, right? To have those social skills and somewhat independent skills. But the more that you can do ahead of time is always great.
And it's such a big change. I think if we could show maybe some of the video again, when you're summertime, you're outside and you're running around, and it's just you're kind of all over the map. Like your nephew's here, just kind of having a blast.
And then what happens with the time change, right? You can be out there till 8 o'clock, 8:30 now.
Yeah, because it's so light. It's so light. So, how do you go from taming this kind of schedule to, they're going to have to be in a classroom and listening and, and instead of kind of directing their own activities now.
So taming it is again a great early childhood program. A great grade school will have both. We'll have the flexibility. It will have the structured play. It will have the free play. There are many different educational models within our community. It's again choosing the one that's a good fit for your family. But I think again just easing them in and front loading them, showing them as much as possible. Like that Play-Doh activity, him playing with the dinosaurs. That's something that's very realistic that he'd be doing at a center in a preschool class.
So maybe
right?
maybe starting that, maybe kind of maybe some sit down activities to kind of get them used to the calmer pace of things, right?
And staying still to
staying
some
still for a little while,
degree,
right? Yeah.
And how long would you say it takes to kind of break through that summer, feel?
The summer funk.
I'm telling you that that light till 8:30 at night for us, being out, right? Because you could be at the beach. So it's I personally suffer a lot with the time change. I'm not gonna lie. But again, just little by little, easing away. And if you know that you yourself takes you a little longer, it takes me a little bit longer myself to transition back into the school year from summer. Is maybe instead of a week, maybe give yourself 2 weeks or a week and a half. So as an adult, I think we need to reflect also and see, well, you know what, it's a little difficult for me too. So, we're the ones.
And a lot of times, if you're doing that yourself and your child sees it, then they're going to mimic that behavior more than likely.
And they're going to follow the leader, right? And then if you're the leader and you're leading it in that direction, they're going to follow along just fine.
And let's talk some more about that, about the modeling of behavior, right? Because, like we were saying, when we spoke with your sister here, and I asked her what she's excited about, she's, hoping that they'll be excited to accomplish new goals. And you can hear, I think, when parents are excited, I think that's more going to translate to your kids, right?
Sure.
Communicate to them that positive reinforcement. Whereas, if you're kind of, like me and nervous and just kind of, all over the map, I think that's going to come forward to them too. So I think that's something we have to work on as parents.
So we say a lot at our school is you get more of what you focus on, right? So if you're moving, let's say, from pre-K 2 to pre-K 3, okay, well, now you're fully potty trained, so no more diapers in this classroom. Here's the bathroom, you can go on your own. So some of the goals my sister's excited about is having Ryan start pre-K 4.
Yes,
it's a big deal, right?
He's starting pre-K 4.
Yeah, he's starting in a VPK program, which is a great program, and she's excited to have him be from a less structured environment into something more structured. But even with that excitement comes a little bit of nervousness, right? Because you don't know what to expect, although she might, because he's the second one, right? So it's not her first rodeo.
Well, and here's what your sister's doing that I thought was really interesting. She said throwing a big family dinner because Ryan is officially a big boy.
So we did that.
And how was that?
It was great. It was great because we have many milestones. We have a nephew going into high school. We have my daughter starting college, going away to college. Thank you. And her 4-year-old is going off into pre-K. So we have a lot of milestones that we were really celebrating. It just took some time to just,
That's smart to highlight that.
To highlight them,
And then it's in their heads. They know what the plan is. They know where they're going. And at the same time, I know we've been talking about this model behavior, but also the not making promises. I never would have thought about that, but it's so important.
Well, and think about it, like, when you're a kid, promises, and it's not like, as parents, right, we're saying to our kids, oh, I promise you I'm going to do this. But it's our simple yes is yes and our simple no is no. And that to them is a big promise and it's a big deal.
So this is a good tip that I have for you all as young moms too, right? So because babies don't have a concept of time, so schools will typically give you a schedule, right? So at our school, you could pick up a baby at 12 or 3 or anywhere between 3 and 6. So if you're going to pick up your toddler at 12, say, okay, after lunchtime, I will be there.
Okay.
So they know, and our schedule is the same, but in their mind, they're like, okay, I'm having lunch, this is lunchtime, so when this period is over, my mommy will be here.
Okay, instead of saying a specific time or something that they can't understand as well.
Because they don't really have concept of time yet. Right.
I'm going to be there at 3:45.
That means nothing. That means nothing to a 4-year-old.
Right. Okay.
Not yet.
No, that's very smart. I mean, it's funny, my daughter is just starting to, understand and speak back to us in, 2-3 word sentences. It's incredible. You're like, how does this even happen? And so we're not quite there yet, but certainly when we get there in the next 6 months to a year, that'll be really smart to be more generic and not.
And just lots of pictures. Lots after the playground, pictorial schedule. We use pictorial schedules. So letting them know visually. Remember, we all pick up stuff from different senses, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So children learn a lot through what comes in through their visual system.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you so much,
Jenni Roig,
for joining us. And we wish everyone an excellent school year. Happy back to school. And stay with Moms of the Mic. We'll keep the conversation going.
We'll see you on the other side.
Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.